Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, scan your body for any feelings of stress, worry, or tension, and gently release that, allowing it to leave your body in your outward breath. When you breathe in deeper than you did before. And as you exhale, allow your body to exhale for longer. And I want you to scan your body for any echoes of pain. Maybe neurological pain, sensations. But I want you to take on the role of an observer. Rather than experiencing pain, I want you to analyze pain. So breathe in and breathe out and think of the location, the intensity. Because pain has submodalities. Is it a sharp pain, a slow, throbbing pain? Does it feel like it's twisting? Does it come in pulses? Or does it feel like a sensation that's just there in the background? And the more you analyze the pain, the more detached you become from that pain. In the same way that if you were to think of an emotive word, maybe a shocking word. Let's think of a word like murder. But if you were to look at that word and say it 1,000 times, say it backwards, it just becomes random letters. And I want you to think that way about your pain. Start to think of that location. Think of the frequency. But also think all the times it isn't there. Breathe in and breathe out. And sometimes to evaluate the absence of pain, you think of a memory when you know for sure it didn't exist. Breathe in and breathe out. And I want you to imagine someone that has lost a limb, maybe an arm or a leg. Breathe in and breathe out. And just imagine that person with that limb missing. And I want you to imagine your fascination when they tell you that they have a tickling sensation on a limb that does not exist. As you breathe in and breathe out, bemused, confused, befuddled by this phantom limb with a real sensation, you are drawn to the conclusion that if an individual can have a sensation on a limb that doesn't exist, then it is also possible that you are experiencing real pain for a condition that no longer requires that pain. That's it. As that thought takes root, I want you to imagine a childhood memory of a slide that went down in a spiral, maybe like a helter-skelter. And when you can remember a childhood slide like that, let me know by nodding your head. maybe a water slide, maybe in a playground or a fair. And I want you to imagine, perhaps, there was a sack, or perhaps a mat, or maybe you just went down in the clothes you were wearing. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and I want you to imagine that with each descending number, going down that helter-skelter slide. And when you arrive at the bottom, you are no longer at the bottom of a helter-skelter. You are at the beginning of a hallway that leads to a control room. But for now, let's think of that helter-skelter. Just imagine you're at the top of that spiral slide, and 5, just taking that very first slide all the way down. Maybe feel the velocity, the speed, the gravity pulling you down. And then 4, maybe feeling your body being pushed to the side as you go down faster and faster. And you could make this slide 10 times longer than it was in reality because it's just your imagination. 3, continue down that slide, going deeper and deeper. As you realize, the deeper you go down this slide, the deeper down into your subconscious mind you arrive at. Simultaneously, your body is getting deeper and deeper relaxed. And then 2, continuing down the slide, picking up speed, knowing that you're close to the end of this slide. And then 1, just feel that whoosh as you slide all the way off the helter-skelter. As you look back, the slide is missing, and you notice you are now in a hallway, and at the end of the hallway is a door that leads to what we can call a control room of your mind. So just imagine walking towards that door, putting your hand on the handle, turning the handle, pulling the door open, walking through the door and closing the door behind you. And just imagine how you would feel if you were in a control room. This could be a mechanical control room or a space-age futuristic control room. And just imagine the gauges and dials, the dashboards control every part of your existence. I want you to imagine seeing a dial for enthusiasm, already so high. And maybe there's a dial for creativity and motivation. See how high on the dials it is. And I want you to see some kind of dial that represents pain. And maybe it's static, or maybe it fluctuates. And I want you to get a sense that there is a part of your deep subconscious responsible for your pain. And most of that pain, particularly in your past, was useful. Think of those times when you picked up something too hot and the pain gave you a reflex to drop it immediately. Or the pain of a bad toothache which prompted you to visit a dentist. Or maybe treading on an old piece of Lego, a sharp stone, and the pain meant that you immediately retracted, taking your body weight off that item, ensuring no long-term physical damage to your foot. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to think just how grateful you can be for the part responsible for pain. Pain is a protector. Pain is there to warn you. Pain can be like an alarm system alerting you of danger. And the more you breathe in and the more you breathe out, the more grateful you can be for your body's ability to experience useful pain. And I want you to bring forth an unconscious part responsible for pain. Invite that part into the control room. And when the part is there, let me know by nodding your head. The part may be a physical part, almost like a character, an archetype. It could just feel like a sense that something is there. But I want you to imagine the part responsible for pain is there in the control room with you. And imagine a large screen there in the control room. And I want you to imagine communicating with that wise part of you that has been creating this pain, knowing that it has always had a positive intention. And I want you to harness that gratitude and to thank that part of you now for its positive intention. Maybe to protect, maybe to alert, maybe to warn. But thank it for the positive intention, for trying to keep you safe in its own way. And if that part acknowledges your gratitude, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And you can be genuinely grateful. Nobody enjoys pain, but you can be grateful for the utility. And let that part know you understand its positive intentions completely, and that you appreciate its efforts to help you. As you do so, feel that you're building rapport between you and that dissociated part responsible for pain. And allow yourself to recognize that this pain is either helpful now or was once helpful, and that there is a possibility that it could now be causing more harm than good. And I want you to imagine streaming experiences from you to that part about all of the sensations that you've experienced that you feel may no longer be useful for you. That you're already aware of the pain. A fire alarm would be useful if there's a fire, but a fire alarm continuing to have those high decibels when the fire has long been extinguished would no longer be useful. So consider all the ways this pain has impacted your life. All of those trips to the doctor, a feeling of dependency on pain medications, and maybe on occasions feeling that it was numbing your ability to experience a good quality of life. I want you to gently let that part know that while you appreciate its help, you're curious to discover if the intensity and frequency of the pain are still needed, and allow that part to respond. And if that part feels that you need to continue to experience the pain at the same intensity and the same frequency to keep you safe, allow that part to communicate. But if that part is willing to acknowledge You don't need the intensity or the frequency, that it could be dialed all the way down, less frequent, so long as you promise to keep yourself safe in different ways. Ways that mean that the pain isn't necessary. And if that part responsible for pain is willing to acknowledge you don't need the intensity or the frequency, let me know by nodding your head. If that part feels that it is still necessary, let me know by nodding your head. And sometimes it might be part necessary and part not necessary. And I want you to ask that part if it's willing to dial down the pain that is not as useful. You've had the experience of having an alarm clock set to a particular time to wake you up. And then, on a day when it wasn't needed, the alarm clock wakes you up anyway. And I want you to ask that part responsible for the pain if some of the pain are like those false alarms, that they're there, but aren't useful, aren't necessary. And if it concedes that some of the pain isn't necessary, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And I want you to ask that part if it's willing to dial down the pain on any pain that is no longer useful, giving you a better quality of life, reducing dependency on medications, and feeling that you have a better harmony with your body. And if that part responsible for pain feels like that's a fair, reasonable compromise, let me know by nodding your head. And maybe you can ask that part to find a new, even more empowering way to protect you. One that no longer requires such high levels of discomfort. And maybe you could imagine how it would feel to have that part communicate you in a way that is gentle, clear, and without unnecessary pain. Pain is just a blunt instrument. What if it could use intuition, insight, awareness, almost a sixth sense, to adjust your life accordingly, none of which would require pain? I want you to envision a future where pain only appears if it is truly useful, and if not, it can simply fade away, as you give yourself permission to release any pain that no longer serves a useful purpose. Just allow it to dissipate gently and easily. And maybe you can visualize yourself in the days to come, noticing how the pain is becoming less frequent, less intense, and more manageable, but also coming to the conclusion for any pain that remains, being grateful for its utility, keeping you safe, keeping you alert. And I want you to feel grateful also that medication can mitigate pain when the pain is useful. See yourself moving through life with less dependency on medication, feeling more in control, more empowered. And just imagine a future where your quality of life is improving every day. A life where you are free from unnecessary discomfort. As you allow your subconscious mind to find new, healthier ways to keep you safe. Ways that are in harmony with a life free from chronic pain. And maybe already you can feel the gratitude towards that part of you that all this time has tried so hard to protect you, and let it know it can now do so in a more positive, pain-free way. Notice how more relaxed you're becoming, and as you continue to relax, notice how the need for pain fades as new, better methods of protection take its place. And maybe you can picture yourself in the near future, living with more of a sense of ease and comfort, maybe with reduced medication, knowing that your subconscious is working for your highest good. And let that part see the impact the pain has had, and gently guide it to understand that it is safe to let go of the intensity now. I want you to imagine if there was a fire alarm that went off with false alarms all the time. It may be loud and you still ignore it. But maybe if it was less frequent and less intense, you would treat it with more respect when the alarm was raised. So make a commitment to that part, that if the part is less intense and less frequent, you will be more diligent when the alarm is raised. And if that part feels that that is a fair, reasonable compromise, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. That you don't need such intense pain if your vigilance is increased. If your desire to heed warnings is more alert, the pain needn't be so intense. And you can now instruct that part to protect you in a way that brings joy, health, and a greater sense of well-being. That all of the useful pain can remain. It's just the unuseful pain that can be dialed all the way down. So feel the weight of unnecessary pain lifting as you move forward with a new sense of freedom, trusting your subconscious to guide you with comfort and ease. And before you leave that control room, take another look at that dial, that gauge for pain, and see that for unnecessary pain, frequency and intensity is indeed dialed all the way down. And just that knowledge gives you a sense of more freedom, more ability to be grateful for any pain that does remain. So say goodbye to that part responsible for the pain. Thank it again for its positive intentions. And then, as you leave the room, find yourself in a hallway. Walk down the hallway and see maybe a flume or a helter-skelter, and feel that same exhilaration as you go up the helter-skelter in reverse, at the same speed, same velocity, but upwards instead of down until you end where you've already began, and feel a sense that everything happened in reverse, including pain. And take that rewired neural network with you to the present moment as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect fully into the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.